Everybody, and welcome to another interesting session that we at HackerEarth have lined up for you guys. Today we have a very special guest with us, Abhishek Somani, who is, if I may say, a guru or an interview coach for aspiring engineers. A little background on Abhishek and what his journey has kind of been like. Abhishek is a student, is a graduate from National Institute of Technology Warangal, or NIT Warangal, as most of us know. He's gotten a bachelor's degree in computer science. A very interesting fact is that he was also an intern for Microsoft, or a software development intern for Microsoft in this when he was in college. Post which he got directly selected by Microsoft, cracked the interview process, and worked with Microsoft as a software engineer for about 2 years and 3 months. And has now been a part of, or if I may say, has been a part of another such company, that is Amazon, and has been an SD intern, SD2 full-time employee with them for about a year. So hello, Abhishek. Welcome to the webinar. How are you doing?
Yeah, thanks, Anirudh, for having me. And first of all, thanks, HackerEarth, for giving me this opportunity, and Anirudh and Akriti, if she's also present, to have me here and give me this opportunity so that I can talk about my journey, my experiences, and I can empower people so that they can also land into companies that I have cracked, and even better ones.
100%. So today Abhishek is going to be throwing a little bit of light into cracking the interview process, or getting into top organizations, or like most people like to call it, into FANG companies, which is the word that a lot of people have been using out there recently. Abhishek, as I mentioned, has already gotten into two of the biggest ones. So without further ado, I'm just going to hand it over to Abhishek, and you can take over from there, Abhishek.
So hello everyone. I want to talk about how I got offers from FUMA, to be very specific. FUMA is an acronym for Facebook, Uber, Microsoft, and Amazon. So I will be sticking to FUMA only because unlike other people who like talk about FANG, even without they have interviewed with FANG, I don't want to be like dishonest to people. I will only talk about my experiences, how I cracked Facebook interview, Uber, Microsoft, and Amazon, how they are different, how your preparation strategy should be, where you should prepare from, what are the tips and tricks, do's and don'ts you have to always think about, and yeah, my experiences which you can relate to, and hopefully you will also land offers from these big companies. So let's get started. If I may, Anirudh.
Yes, Abhishek, please go ahead.
Yeah, so Anirudh has already given a brief introduction about myself. Hello, I am Abhishek Somani. Presently, I am SD2 at Amazon, and before this, I was working in Microsoft. So I did a summer internship in 2016. I'm a 2K17 graduate, to be specific. I did a summer internship at Microsoft in 2016 in the rewards team, and then I got the pre-placement offer, which I happily accepted, and then I worked at Microsoft for 2 years. Learned a lot of things, worked on a breadth of technologies, and made some really good friends as well, and teammates. Then I thought, let's explore the world, and then I moved to Amazon because one reason, it's also a competitor of Microsoft, and I wanted to learn the AWS stack, to be very specific, of how that works and what is the scale at which they operate, and hopefully I will learn all of that in the time given. But yeah, it's been a really nice journey at Amazon as of now. So that's quite of my introduction. I am from computer science background, and I got introduced to coding and all, and I will talk about all those experiences as I go. So yes, this was the journey so far. College internship, NIT Warangal, 2K16 internship, Microsoft FT 2017, worked on project like Dynamics for Talent, which is like the ATS system and the application tracking system where all the candidates are pooled into that entire product we made as a team. And then I moved to Bing Travel, where I was working on the travel segment and travel related queries that come on Bing as a search engine. Later, I joined in Amazon in 2019, and where initially I started with Alexa product and tech. Yes, the Alexa, the famous Alexa, which I hope all of you guys know. And then I am presently working on a confidential project where I've signed an NDA, so I won't be able to disclose any much information about that. So yeah, the first and foremost, when I'm trying to talk about Facebook, companies like Facebook, companies like Amazon, companies like Microsoft and Uber, the first barrier, the first challenge that usually all the candidates face is getting an interview call. Trust me, that's not easy. There are a lot of things that go into that go behind the scenes where you have to get the interview call. So let me actually bring them out. So what worked for me? So usually recruiters reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's the way it works, through email. And then if I'm interested in that opportunity, I take that forward. Or if, let's say, I'm specifically interested in some of the job opportunities that are present of some companies, I will go on the company's career portal and I will apply. To give you an example, I got an offer from Amazon Prime Video London. For that opportunity, no recruiter reached out to me. I was genuinely interested for that opportunity and I went ahead to Amazon's career portal and applied. And then a recruiter reached out to me based on my profile, and then the interview process happened, and fortunately I got my offer. So that was a previous offer that I got from Prime Video London. Later I joined in Amazon as a SDQ in Hyderabad in Alexa product and tech. So that's a different story, but the example being that recruiters might reach out to you. So that is one way in which you can get interview calls from these big companies. Second, you can directly go to the careers portal and apply. Although that process might take time, and especially provided this unfortunate pandemic and COVID situation, it might take even more time. But the thing is, you should have patience. And yes, they will respond. Recruiters are like nice people. They are willing to make you succeed. So just hold patience. And yeah, for me, I haven't taken referrals as of now, so I won't be able to throw more light of how the referral process works. But I had taken around 120 interviews in Amazon, so I know basically if anyone refers you, you are brought into the pipeline of that company with some preferences because someone has already trusted you with some of the skills. So although the applications are fast track, but even if you don't take a referral, please don't feel underconfident. Your application will hold as much value and as much preference as other people. And that is a clear example I wanted to bring out, that I haven't taken any referral for any of the companies from which I got offer. So don't lose confidence. You can always get offer without referrals. But if you get referral, that's always a bonus one. Now, yeah, so I brought out a point which is recruiters reaching out to me. So again, a lot of people have asked me this question. Recruiters are reaching out to you, Abhishek. How is that possible? No one is reaching out to me. So that actually depends of how you are actually active on platforms like LinkedIn. What is your competitive coding background? What projects have you made? What is your GitHub profile? So it's like building your brand. So when you want a big company to hire you, they see lot of factors, lot of signals about you, like how much visible you are. Are you contributing back to the community? Are you getting into effective networking? And also, if you're using LinkedIn, how are you using LinkedIn? Is it just some garbage post that you're posting, or is it something relevant that will actually help a lot of people out? And at the same time, they also scan a lot of resumes, so they know that people who are active on GitHub, what projects they have indulged in. If they have made a simple project where they have let's say machine learning project, if they have made a machine learning project which they have presented as something big, but in the core and its depth, it's just a OpenCV library that you have imported, you have trained a small data set, and you have just built a project. So these are some signals you should avoid. Build something, even if it's basic, but build it with your own knowledge and present it honestly. Don't be dishonest. And at the same time, if you're using LinkedIn, please indulge in effective networking. This effective networking can again become another session, that how to network efficiently. Even if you're, let's say, reaching out to some people for getting a referral, don't start with hi or hello. Like there's a very famous website which is nohello.com. You can also read an article why it is not preferred to just write a hello or hi, because you will get 30 seconds of life to get a referral from that person, because that person will have his own or her own work deliverables and a lot of other things planned. So write the purpose of why you are reaching out to that person. What are your core skills? which is the exact job ID. Like, do your due diligence, okay? Like, do your homework. If you are interested in a company, you do a research of what that company means to you and what you can bring to that company. It's always bi-directional. So talk about that, and like, be very concise, targeted, and simple. So these three things you should always remember. And also, I have talked about how to use LinkedIn very efficiently. So always learn from success and rejection stories. Me as a person, my parents have always taught me that be humble and always have that aptitude to learn from others, because even if someone has not succeeded, whenever he or she is sharing their stories, you will learn that what you don't have to do. And if they have succeeded, then obviously you will get the pointers of what you have to do. So always learn from those stories. And whenever you're posting anything on LinkedIn, let's say, be specific to any section of audience, but make sure to that section of audience it makes sense. Because I'm a hardcore coder, so I usually post things which are related to coding or system design or software engineering field. But I kind of make sure that this will motivate some people. This will bring a new interest in some people. Let's say people might get interested into coding. People might get interested. Okay, this is math. People who I have got a lot of messages on LinkedIn where people used to hate math, but there was one post that I posted which was related to prime numbers, and people got really crazy that okay, prime numbers have lot of properties which are unexplored, and the properties that have explored are like mind blowing. So post meaningful content. And the third and foremost, emphasize on building stronger connections, because like there are a lot of and plethora of posts where it is always floating that don't use LinkedIn as Tinder. It's not a dating website. Don't use LinkedIn as Facebook. It's not again a social platform. Use LinkedIn professionally. When you are adding someone as a connection, try to get the most out of them. Like, what are the fields that excite them? What are the hardest problem or challenges they have faced in their life? Let's say, don't ask this question directly, have they faced any failures, but when you have built like a good rapport, then you can also talk about the success and failures, because these stories will make you stronger and will make you more confident, because you will start to accept yourself and your failures. And trust me, everyone fails. To give you an example, when I was introduced to competitive coding, so I was very new to coding. The coding and programming word I got to know when I joined college, which was like back in 2013. Before that, till 12th, I was like aimless. I prepared for IITs. Unfortunately, I did not get the top IIT, so I went ahead with NIT Warangal, which was a top of its class. But then I got to know, okay, there is something called programming, and then I got introduced to C++. And I did not get a good grade in PSAP in my first year. It was, I guess, grade B or grade C. So I was really bad at it. Then when I joined my second year, I got introduced to platforms like CodeChef, CodeForces, and Spoj through my friends and my seniors. Uh, the first question of competitive programming, which is life, universe, and everything, which is a very famous problem on CodeChef, I submitted it like more than 50 to 53 times, and every time it was wrong. So I reached out to my friends then how to solve this question, and they taught me that this is the way you have to take input and this is the way you have to give the output. And then like I was really fantasized that okay, this is the way you have to solve the problem. And for like the next 1 month or so, I solved around 200 problems on CodeChef, around 200 problems on Spoj, because that really triggered me. So the point I was trying to make, that when you build strong connections, you might get that small motivation or fire which can actually give direction to your entire career. Had I not built strong connections with my friends, or even with my college mates, then I would not have been introduced to competitive coding, and I can strongly say I would not have been at this place collaborating with HackerEarth and talking about my story now. So always focus on emphasizing and building stronger connection, stronger bonds. Be humble, be down to earth. So these are all the tips on LinkedIn, and the like what the jargons that you need to know, what to talk, what not to talk, and all. Now let me actually dive deep into what is the overall process of these big companies, so that you get an idea that what you're getting into. Every company has a different process, to be very honest, but that difference you will only see in terms of the interview or the on-site or the virtual interviews that happened due to the pandemic. But overall, if we see a like 10,000 feet overview, the process looks like there is always a phone screen or a coding assessment that happens in the first stage, where a recruiter will reach out to you. Let's say the recruiter interaction has already completed. Now what will happen, they will invite you for a phone screen where one or two, or depending on the company you are interviewing, they will nominate two or three interview panels based on the number of phone screens you have. Usually it is one or two, and they will interview with some basic questions which are mostly, I would say, easy. Just they want to see what is the aptitude that you want to bring in, where you stand in terms of problem solving, how efficiently you write code, and everything which I will be talking in this webinar is very specific to software engineering process. But there are few topics that I will cover later on that will also touch upon some behavioral skills that are necessary for almost any field you can get into. Even if you are a CTO of any company, and if you are not culturally fit, you will be rejected outright. Doesn't matter if you have got strong hair from the entire panel, but if you're not culturally fit, you will get rejected. So I will also touch upon that, but this is primarily based for software engineering rules. So yeah, coming back to the phone screen point. So in the phone screen, usually interviewers will just get a hold that should we invest money on this person to actually bring him or her to on-site interviews, where we will actually get deeper, uh, get him or her to solve ambiguous problems, more complicated problems, and also get more data points around behavioral skills, more data points around ownership, leadership principles, and so forth. But at the same time, like in Amazon, it might happen that you can be given a coding assessment where it can be hosted on platforms like HackerEarth or HackerEarth, where you have to log in. The designated time might differ from 1 hour to 1 hour 30 minutes, and you will be given X number of problems where X can be 2 to 3, depending on the difficulty of the problem. So I can tell my example. When I interviewed with Amazon Prime Video London, I had an online coding round which had two questions. Both of the questions were medium hard, to be specific, and then I was directly invited for the on-site interview. Those were different times when COVID wasn't there, so I had the opportunity to visit London, where I had to appear for 5 rounds, and then I got the final offer. So this is one of the example. Now I can talk about Facebook. So in Facebook, I had one phone screen round. The question, I solved 3 questions, which were all kind of medium hard. Then I was directly invited for the on-site interview, which happened virtually. And then there were 4 rounds, to be specific, where one was a system design round, one was a behavioral round, and the other two were coding rounds. Where in coding rounds, I solved 6 problems in like 45 minutes, 3 problems each, and then I got the offer. Uh, for Microsoft, it was different, and for Amazon, it is different. But overall, the pillars remain the same: phone screen, coding assessment. So and also, I want to highlight a very big point here. So when you talk to a recruiter, and the recruiter is interested in your profile, they will be inviting you for phone screen and coding assessment. Sometimes people might feel that, okay, this is a big company, I'm kind of underconfident. In that case, be really honest and really vocal to your recruiter, and you can ask to buy in more time. And trust me, out of 100 cases, in 99 cases, the recruiter will actually postpone the interviews, because recruiters, interviewers, and like the entire company wants you to succeed. Like even in on-site interviews, people tell that, okay, they knowingly asked me tough questions. No, that's not at all the case. I have taken 120 interviews, and whenever I go into an interview, I go with a mindset that I want this candidate to to succeed and to get the offer. I go with that mentality, because I also want to enjoy that discussion, that what this candidate is bringing to the plate, what are his or her strengths, what are some areas of growth or opportunities that where we can mentor him. So be vocal with your recruiter. Recruiter is your only advocate that will want you to succeed, even for the final offer, the negotiation, and even with on-site, everything. So be really treat them like your friend, because they are. So yeah, this is the overall process. Phone screen, coding assessment, mostly easy questions, but make sure that you have the strongest impact in that, because that will crave your path to like the on-site interview. On-site interview, 4 to 5 rounds, medium hard, might be totally hard, depends on which company you're interviewing for. And yeah, just be confident, give your best, and then the last process, that is feedback and offer, where you will get the feedback about how you performed and how you did not perform from the recruiter, the highlights, lowlights, and then the offer process where you can negotiate and blah blah. Already you have a congratulations from me. Thank you. So yeah, and another process before I go to the next slide is, sometimes a lot of people have told me and brought up this point that I interviewed with so and so company and I was not given the feedback. So to give you just a stats, for any big company, any recruiter, they get around like 100 to 200 messages daily. Everyone and like 50 candidates are interviewing with that company daily as well under that recruiter. Practically, it becomes impossible to answer each of them. But recruiter like does their job, and more or less in most of the cases they provide the feedback. And to give you another insight, more like the companies like in Amazon, it is kind of prohibited to give the feedback back to the candidate, because there are a lot of back and forth concerns that can happen. The candidate can say, okay, I performed well, how was I how was I given a strong new hire or a no hire, I have performed well. Because from a candidate's point of view, you might think, okay, I solved the question. Let's say I'm given any question, the expected time complexity is log n, you solve the question in linear time, and you're like, okay, I solved the question. But interviewer might expect something entirely different. So if recruiter is not giving you feedback, don't curse them, because they are also human beings. They want you to succeed, but if let's say they are unable to get back to you, be patient. You can drop a message that can you give me feedback, that will help in my improvement. But if they are unable to, don't get harsh on them. Just a small point for entire recruiter community. You're doing a good job. Yeah, let's get into the like elephant in the room, that is the preparation strategies. What are the tips and tricks, do's and don'ts for every round that can happen? Yeah, so this quote I wanted to bring out first, that train your mind and your fingers will follow. This is especially for everyone who is sitting in front of a laptop in any field. It doesn't matter if you are coding or not coding. Even if you're making presentations, even if you're writing, like ingesting data into Excel sheets, even if you're doing any job that requires a laptop, if you train your mind successfully, your fingers will follow. That happens with a coder as well. If you know the intrinsic delicacies of any algorithm, your fingers will start typing like really fast. What is the method signature, what is the name you want to give, and everything. So focus on training your mind, and don't worry if your fingers are shaking, don't worry, they can tremble in the starting, but they will obviously start typing as soon as you hit the ground. Now yeah, what does that even mean? Right, so now let me dive deep into the specifics, like where this code can be applied to software engineering profile. Solve a lot of problems related to data structures. I have seen in my interview experience, where I have been the interviewer, that a lot of candidates come underprepared. Don't do that, because trust me, the opportunity that you're getting, you're lucky enough that you're getting that opportunity to interview someone. Give your best. So don't go underprepared. Solve a lot of problems of which are related to data structures, like binary trees, like linked list, hash maps, tries. uh, don't hesitate to even solve problems that are related to advanced data structures, like which involves square root decomposition, which involves matrix exponentiation to like get log n factor, even to find nth Fibonacci, for segment trees or binary index trees or Fenwick trees, play trees. Don't hesitate, but also don't over prepare. So I always tell that have a balance. Your mind is also like a machine learning algorithm. Okay, there are a lot of neural networks that are behind your brain. Don't overtrain it, because it will give you false results. And how it will give false results? If you over prepare, what will happen is, when I ask you even a simple question, you will take time to think it in like huge depth. Even if you even if I ask like, okay, find sum from L to R, there are a lot of queries in an array. You have to find a sum from given L index to R index. This question can be solved using prefix sum, and it will give you constant time complexity for every query. Because I have not mentioned that there are updates, and let's say I am as an interviewer not even expecting anything more. You just tell me prefix sum and I am good. I can move on to the next question. But people who have over prepared, like people who are deep into competitive coding, which is not bad at all, they will, their intrinsic mind will actually first think that okay, this is the question related to segment trees, and they will think of okay, this question might be extended to updates. I will write the code in such a way that it will already handle updates. They will think in terms of lazy propagation. They can also think in terms of binary index trees or Fenwick trees. But the thing is, see, what you did wrong. You over prepared. You went ahead with lot of assumptions because you know a lot of things. You did not clarify that with the interviewer, and you wasted a lot of time which you could have saved for some another question that the interviewer was thinking to ask you to collect more data points. So never do that. And one way of avoiding, even if you're over preparing, one way of avoiding is to be vocal. Now there are a lot of people whose personality is like introverted, but the thing is, if you are going to an interview, please keep that aside. Be vocal. You don't have to tell a lot of stories that okay, in my life I have done this, I have faced this struggle. I am not telling you to become extroverted in that sense. I am telling you to become extrovert in expressing of what you're thinking. A lot of candidates that I have interviewed are totally silent. I have to like pick him again and again that okay, what are you thinking, which lines are you thinking? Why? Because I want that candidate to succeed. I want that candidate to align his thought process onto a way that will solve the problem, because ultimately I want that person to solve the problem, and his or her intention will be the same. So be vocal, ask a lot of questions, no unnecessary ones. Ask questions to gather requirements. Let me give another example. In our college days, we are taught about a concept called SDLC, which is Software Development Lifecycle. The first and foremost thing that is taught in that is gathering requirements. Then you will get into the designing phase, implementing phase, and everything. But why is that important, and how is that related to the interviews? Let's say as an interviewer, I ask you a question, and I meaningfully and intentionally will leave lot of blanks in the question. That I want you to ask me questions and gather data. Why? Because let's say you will join my company, the company that I am working on, and what will happen that you will never get a problem that you have solved, like which are related to binary trees or something. Always the problem that will solve are real world problems. Real world problems are ambiguous. In that case, you will have to think in directions that okay, what are the requirements here? What is the scale at which I will operate, which is mapping to the input size array, or like the n. What is the expected complexity at which I can solve and still get my solution and product working at a remarkable timeline, which is like the time complexities. Hence, ask questions, be vocal to your interviewer that okay, what I have these approaches in mind, which approach you want me to proceed. That's just a simple question which will save you a lot of time, and you can go ahead implementing that approach as well. This is the first problem, and the first pointer, which is like solving a lot of problems related to data structures. Second, understand the concepts of algorithms. Why this is important? Because around 40% of the interviews that I have taken, yes, probably 30 or 40 interviews that I have taken, but like if there is a question where you need to sort an array, people go ahead with the library methods. Let's say if you are a C++ coder, you will implement sort a dot begin a dot end, or with a custom comparator, and the same you can do with Java as well. But when I ask a counter question that okay, how do you think this library has been implemented, people actually go blank. They don't know how sorting is implemented in the library, if it is randomized quick sort, if it is merge sort, and if it is merge sort, why it is merge sort and why it is not randomized quick sort. What is the inherent or delicate difference between them? Even if it's a constant factor, you should know that. So understand the concepts of algorithms. Really nice. Don't by heart anything, because I'm pretty sure like out of 100 cases, 90 cases will be the ones where you don't face exact problems. And also there is an ocean of questions. You cannot memorize all of them. You can, you might be the Microsoft like suits, but those are prodigies and those are exceptions. So be stick to the fundamentals, stick to the concepts of algorithms, and which is also the third point that I want to highlight, that is focusing on fundamentals like hash maps and trees. Lot of people use hash maps like any random given data structure as if it is always present. Don't take hash maps for granted. Okay, hash maps are like magic. They also come with their like powers, and also they come with their trade-offs. So when you are mentioning hash map, be sure how it is implemented. Do your research on how collision resolution techniques work. Learn about linear probing, learn about quadratic probing, learn about chaining, learn about how that yeah. But yeah, one big thing that I want to highlight in terms of hash map, a lot of people tell the time complexity of insertion or deletion from hash map is O of 1, which is like constant time. No, that's wrong. That is amortized O of 1 because it always depends on what is the hash function that you're using. That amortized O of 1 and O of 1, let's say if I am a candidate, if I say to the interviewer that it is amortized O of 1 and I can give a background of why it is amortized O of 1, I'm pretty sure like in 99% of the cases the interviewer will be impressed, because they will get the insight that this candidate has done his research and he or she is sticking to the fundamentals. Always remember that. And again, I want to highlight trees. I specifically chose trees and hash maps because this is a consistent pattern that I see in a lot of candidates that they're making a mistake on, and hence they are losing that extra wow factor. When it comes to trees, and whenever a time complexity is asked, people blatantly say if it is a binary search tree, it is log n. If it is any binary tree, it will be the entire tree, so it is O of n. I can give you a lot of counter cases where that will not happen. The time complexity, the worst case time complexity, if you search in a binary search tree, is not at all log n, it is O of n, because the worst case is when binary search tree can become skewed. That is, all the candidates are all the candidates of that element tree can be aligned in one direction, either left or right. So it will be like O of n. So always remember those cases, hence stick to the fundamentals. And there is like whenever you start preparation, always like spend at least a week on brushing up all the fundamentals, understanding the algorithms to the deepest root possible, and then you can start solving problems. Or you can take another approach which is as holistic as this one, where you read about a concept and you start solving problems on top of that, which is also a good way of learning. Next big point that I want to highlight is be a proactive coder. When I say proactive, so there are two methodologies in any field you go. One is proactive, one is reactive, which I also got to learn from my managers at Microsoft. Proactive means a person who not only solves the problem, implements the problem, and also goes through that implementation and finds error himself or herself. Reactive coder is a coder that will understand the problem, solve the problem, like implement it, and then he or she will get stuck into the process of, okay, why is this code not working? Either that person will reach out to some other people to ask, can you just help me where this code is not working? Or they will heavily rely on test cases, that okay, let's say I'm working on HackerEarth, there are 10 input cases, 9 input cases are working, 10th one is not working. Rather than analyzing or doing a dry run or doing a manual debug, what they will do is either they will ask their friends, either they will have the capability to unlock that test case, which like a lot of platforms have started giving, or they will like skip the problem at all. Don't do that. Take a proactive approach to almost anything in your life as well, because whenever you think about any idea or algorithm, you implement that, just think about some edge cases where this question might not work. In the process, what will happen, your horizons of problem solving will increase to a great extent. You will start thinking of the edge cases and the base cases even before you start implementing, so which will help you especially in terms of recursion problem or dynamic programming problem. So be a proactive coder. Next point, emphasize on the complexities. Lot of people implement a problem. I have seen like really professional coders, like coders who are like 6-star on CodeShare. They can implement any given problem within like 20 minutes, but they don't know what is the complexity of the problem, which is really strange. Because, and personally as an interviewer, I won't be inclined to hire that candidate, but I will be inclined to hire a candidate who solved just one problem, took the entire time, but he developed on the problem incrementally. He started asking right set of questions. His or her fundamentals were bang on. He or she was a proactive coder, and like the final golden mark, he or she knew what the complexities he or she is operating on. And a lot of times in between this webinar you will hear me telling he or she, because that is what makes you inclusive. So I want to be inclusive to the entire community, just to flag that out. So yes, emphasis on the complexities. A lot of people just tell the complexities of whatever comes to their mind. Okay, I have used two loops, so it is O of n square. I have used one loop, it is O of n. I have used binary search. Doesn't matter how the binary search has been implemented, it is log n. Just go through your code. It will take hardly 2 minutes. Go through your code and analyze. Okay, roughly the time complexity is this. Roughly the space complexity is this. This will give you bonus points, and these bonus points, when added, can convert your chances to get into offers into FUMA, and I can assure that you can as well get the offers from other big companies as well. Last, and like the big point, there are a lot of slides waiting, so this is not the last point of the webinar. This is the last point of the slide, that don't memorize answers and code. Okay, so I have seen people where I ask a question, let's say I ask the question diameter of a binary tree. I generally don't ask that question. I'm just giving an example that, okay, find the diameter of a binary tree. This is such a popular problem that a lot of people have solved it multiple, not even multiple, it's like in on their fingers. So they will quickly jump into the problem, they will write the solution and feel that, okay, this is done and dusted, I am getting the offer done, I have nailed it. Let's say if I extend that problem and I tweak that problem in such a way that this binary tree now has become a directed graph, and I have swapped k edges in this binary tree. So now this has become a graph problem, and now I ask you the same question, that find the diameter of this binary tree which has now become a graph, and diameter is kind of the longest path. Now the candidate is stuck forever. So don't memorize answers, understand the fundamentals and then code it, because that will help you in the long run as well when you are actually getting into a company, and that will help you survive in the company. Okay, so these are the over level points of what the previous quote meant, which is like train your mind and your fingers will follow, and they will obviously do. It might take time, but they will. Yes. Now this is another baby elephant in the room that I want to address. What are the coding platforms you have to use? So you can use any coding platform, to be very honest. It depends on your speed of grasping concepts. It depends of how many problems you need to solve to get that confidence in yourself. And almost any platform you choose, they will have lot of questions that you can solve to get your mind working in a way it will recognize all the patterns and all the kind of matching algorithms that you need to use to solve a problem. Now I want to highlight few of the platforms that I use personally, which I like and has helped me a lot in my journey, but yours might be entirely different. HackerEarth, I want to start with, not because they have given me this opportunity, but because HackerEarth was the first platform through which I was introduced to competitive programming's learning. You will say, okay, Abhishek mentioned that he solved the first competitive programming on CodeChef, where he did 50 to 53 mistakes on Life Universe and everything, and now suddenly he has switched boats and talking about HackerEarth. Okay, is it something fishy? No. CodeChef was the first coding platform where I solved my first problem. The first competitive coding aspects and the concepts that I learned was from HackerEarth, and to be very specific, that series was called CodeMonk. So CodeMonk was a series that was launched, and it's really high rated on Google search as well. And they are amazing articles that are written that will help you understand what is the concept. So my first segmentary problem that I solved was on HackerEarth, and the first lazy propagation that I learned was on HackerEarth article only, and which is a part of CodeMonk. Then first, for increasing my speed of thinking, I personally prefer Code Forces. you will see my account, then you might find that this guy has not even participated in a lot of contests, and that is because I participate in virtual contests and upsolve the problem. Yeah, I will bring another very major point out of this. But yeah, code forces is something where you can advance after you have solved multiple questions and you are feeling confident and you just want to increase your speed. Code forces for speed is amazing. Plus, if you are like, if you don't think you're a beginner, you can also start with code forces. Code forces has tagged questions. Like if you want to solve questions which are tagged with DFS, you can go on code forces, filter out those tagged questions, and you can solve all of them. It's really good. One of the underrated platforms that is really good, which has like a limited set of questions, but you solve all of them, I am pretty sure you will understand all the concepts. That is AtCoder. AtCoder is a very simple website. There are contests there as well, but the amount of complexity that is present in the question is really great. You have to scratch your head to solve just one simple problem as well. AtCoder is really best, but I would advise only the top competitive programmers to go to AtCoder or Codeforces. But for preparation for interviews for Facebook, Uber, Microsoft, or Amazon, you can always opt for HackerRank, HackerEarth, and LeetCode. LeetCode I personally prefer because they have this concept of daily challenge where because I am working, right, so I have a lot of work deliverables. So to find time to solve a lot of questions, it will be difficult. So they have a concept of weekly, like daily challenges and weekly contests as well, where I can participate, solve one question daily to keep my mind active and feel confident about myself that okay, I'm not getting old. So LeetCode is really good. But interview bit I have personally not used, but few of my friends have used and they have also landed offers with like big companies like Google as well. So interview bit is really good. They have a structure. I opened their website today and they have a structure of categories like arrays, bit masks, dynamic programming, recursion. So you can also opt for interview bit. That is also really good. The main thing that I want to highlight is not necessary to code on them all. Pick one and code effectively. Okay. So I have shown you like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I have shown you 6 platforms. The one big takeaway for all of you will be don't start going creating account on all of them and code on all of it. Don't, please don't. Stick to one of the platforms, any of it. I'm pretty sure all of them have equal capabilities, nice level of questions, and start solving questions according to the plan that you think of. If you want to pick topics and then solve problems, you can do that. If you want to sway your mind from one dimension to another, you can do ad hoc problem solving as well. But stick to one platform and then be progressive to move into another. Don't jump into all of that. Now I want, because competitive coding has been brought up by me, I want to highlight one big thing. I personally recommend everyone to get indulged in competitive programming, but don't get disheartened if you don't see yourself in like the high ranks. To give you another example, my CodeChef rating is around 2147 to be specific, which is around 6-star CodeChef or 5-star CodeChef. I'm not pretty sure, might be 6-star. That means I'm not the best coder on the planet. Okay, there are like gods of code. There are insane level of coders like Eric To, like Derek Kisman, Michael Danilak, Gennady Koroktovich, like to whom I think they are ideals of me. But I want to bring an analogy here that I like to sing. I sing decent. I'm like a decent singer. I have not been thrown eggs or tomatoes whenever I have performed. But I'm not like a professional singer like Jason Derulo, Justin Bieber, or Sonu Nigam. Okay, they are professionals in their field. But the point that I want to highlight is I like singing. I sing because that makes me happy. So I can tell singing is my passion. Make coding your passion or try to solve more problems. Don't worry about the results. And also, I will recommend you to watch Ericto's video. Ericto is one another legendary grandmaster on code forces who I really respect and deeply follow. He also told this point that there would be always that top 10% or top 1% of people in this entire world who have spent a lot of time. You can't even imagine. So the people who are legendary grandmasters or international grandmasters on code forces, just read about their background. They have been preparing for like 6 years, 7 years for competitions like IOI, which is like Informatics Olympiad, for Mathematics Olympiad, for ICPC. So if you want to get into that competition, it will take a lot of time. But even if you're not the best, I'm assuring you right now, and I can assure you at any given point, you can land offers in the same companies that they will work. I have got offers from Facebook. There are people who are like red coders on top coder who are working on Facebook as well. So we will work on the same team in future. Uh, I'm working in Amazon, and I can give you an example. I have met one person. I won't take the name. He is bang on, okay, in competitive coding. He taught me a concept about ternary search in one of the problems, which was problem D on code forces. That concept, I think I would not have even thought. I would not have even got an article related to that of how to use ternary search in that problem. Leave binary search aside. So just get inspiration out of it. Do competitive coding for your fun. Learn more things about competitive coding. So let me tell you another example. Because I was introduced to competitive coding, I was introduced to advanced data structures like suffix arrays. I was introduced to advanced data structures like tries, compressed tries, segment trees, obviously, persistent segment trees, square root decomposition of a tree, what is DFS tree, why we do double DFS, how it is beneficial, how we find articulation points, what are bridges. So what is link cut graphs, what is max min cut max flow, all these algorithms I was introduced because of competitive coding. And I can tell, given my 3 years of journey, and I have also lost my touch to competitive coding, that let's say if I participate in any of the code forces, I'm pretty sure you will see my name in the bottom quarter, because I won't have that speed. But given enough time, I can assure I can solve that problem. Why? Because I understand the concepts. So have that aptitude to learn. Don't run behind the results, or don't run behind the rankings. Rankings are fluctuating. They will go up, they will come down as well. So don't worry much about that. Just focus on the learning and you will be good to go, because these companies will give you enough time. Let's say I'm a red coder, okay. Hopefully I become one. Let's say I'm a red coder on code forces, and I appear for Facebook's interview. So the Abhishek Somani, which is the normal Abhishek Somani, he was able to solve 3 problems in a 45-minute round. If I had been a red coder, I could have solved those 3 questions in around 20 minutes. So what will happen is eventually that competitive programmer Abhishek Somani will get a strong hire. The normal Abhishek Somani, you might think, will get a higher decision, but I will also get a strong higher decision, because people see how collaborative you are. People see how lovable you are to work with, how approachable you are. Are you collaborative? Are you a team player? Or are you a person who will get a problem and solve it on their own? You might be a rock star, but trust me, people don't want to work with a rock star if he or she is not collaborative. So be grounded, focus on learning, and you will get offers. Damn sure about that. Yeah. What about system design? So the previous slide, which is coding, covers the aspect for new joiners, new grads, and also it covers the dimension for like 1 or 2 year experience software development engineers, SD1s, and also SD2s. But let's say you are into the industry for like 2 years or 3 years onwards, you might expect a round which is very specific to system design. What is system design? So you might have heard about object oriented programming, right? And you might have seen what is coding. So coding is like low level programming where you are given a problem, you are trying to solve it. System design, on the other hand, is that you have to design architectures. You use Facebook, you use Instagram, you use LinkedIn. These are platforms that have been built. They have a lot into their architecture. So that architecture involves system design, high level design. In those high level design, you might see a lot of boxes. Inside those boxes, you have to go deeper. They will have components interacting with each other. You might have heard about class diagrams, sequence diagrams, activity diagrams. So that is what is system design, where you might have to deal with something called cap theorem. Cap theorem is the patterns in which system design is usually made. The decisions are made abiding to cap theorem, where it says consistency, which is the C, availability, which is A, P, which is the partition tolerance or fault tolerance. You have to design a system which is kind of abiding to all of them, but you will, when you read more about it, you will get to know you can only choose two, not all the three, but you can build systems that are achieving all the three, kind of more or less on the scale of 5 nines or 4 nines, like 99.999%. You learn about scalability and trade-offs. So now how to approach system design for coding. We have a lot of platforms, right? I talked about like HackerEarth, HackerRank, Lead Code, AdCoder, Code Forces. But how to approach system design? Is there a course that I can take? Yes, there are courses as well. There is a famous course which is called Rocking the System Design Interview on educative.io. I haven't taken it personally, but it's really famous in the market. You can try that. I can talk about how I approach system design. I am a person who likes to read a lot of engineering blogs of Uber, Facebook, Stripe, uh, Snapchat, to understand how those systems were built. Uh, because I'm always like awestruck when I see that 1 million users are active at one point of time and there is absolutely no lag. How that app was made, like what was the coding stack, what was the tech stack that was used, how the components are interacting, what are the building blocks. So engineering blocks are the best source. You might not get the entire information if you read it once, because there are a lot of jargons you have to work on, but eventually you will start getting the feel of it. Okay, like what is caching, why caching is done, if caching is done, what is CDN, how CDN is distributed across the globe, what is data replication, why it is even necessary, what is load balancing, if I don't do load balancing, isn't that all right, what is SQL and NoSQL, what is sharding, what is aggregation, what is, like there are a lot of things that I can talk about for system design as well for like 1 hour. But read all of them about system design from engineering blogs. And two underrated heroes, which was also one of my LinkedIn posts where I wanted to highlight, is EOSA and High Scalability. These two websites are really amazing. EOSA is architecture of open source applications, where you will understand any open source application that is present, like let's say RabbitMQ, or let's say Kafka. How are they designed? How they solve so many problems, and why companies like Facebook, Amazon are adopting these open source technologies. What is the magic that has been done? So EOSA talks about all of that in utter description and detail. Highscalability.com is another website where there are weekly articles that you can read and subscribe to, which are called newsletters. And trust me, like you will feel, okay, this is what rubbish I am reading, but when you will sit in a system design interview, all of that will strike your head and you will nail the design interview. And that is what happened with me as well. For Facebook system design, my interview decision was really amazing, and I would give the credit to these websites. And also, no learning is better than hands-on learning, is what I believe. If you don't get indulged in some active discussions, I guess if you read about something, it is kind of like half-hearted. But let's say in your company, if you are working, you are participating in some of the design reviews or architecture meetings, you might not understand a single word, but gradually you will start to grasp the concepts. Okay, these people are talking some nonsense in the first, and then you will get to realize, okay, they are talking about why we have to go with NoSQL, or let's say DynamoDB, or let's say DocumentDB if you're going with Azure Stack, or Dynamo with for AWS. Okay, why they are using primary key, okay, why they are using composite key, what is partition key, sort key, everything. So participate in design reviews. Like I can't imagine any manager or any team who will discourage you to join system design meetings. They might tell you that if you have any important deliverables, you can focus on that, but that's absolutely all right. Else you can always step into these meetings, and I'm pretty sure you will learn a lot from your seniors. So this was about system design, and I also want to pictorially show and visually show what are the design resources. This is highscalability.com. This is architecture of open source applications. And now I want to actually call out two resources for people who like to read books. Designing Data Intensive Applications by Martin Kleppen is like the Bible of system design. You read that book and I'm pretty sure you will understand absolutely everything whatever is being spoken by even a senior architect, by even a CTO, by even a like senior most evangelist of any company about system design. This for all the viewers who are live right now, in coding there is a book called Coreman, which is the CL, which is also famously called CLRS. If you Google CLRS, you will get that book, and that is considered as the Bible of programming. Similarly, designing data intensive applications is considered as the Bible of system design. If you read this book, you will nail your system design interviews and you will be sailing like a cakewalk. And also, if let's say you don't have time to go through this 1300-page book, there is a GitHub open source repository whose name is System Design Primer. It is so precise, so well explained that you just go through it once and you will understand all the jargons about system design. You can go through it multiple times, and every time you go through the System Design Primer, you will get some new learning. So these are the four resources that I really recommend to you. And now you might see this subtitle here. Okay, try to go through them all and in some detail effectively. So you might recall that this guy was saying not to try everything and try one effectively, and now this guy is telling exactly opposite. Yes, that's true. For coding platforms, don't try to put your hands in every platform. Choose one, do that effectively. When it comes to system design, the picture is exactly 180-degree opposite. Try to read from as many sources as possible, because that will refine your thinking and approach to a designing question. Because for coding question, there is a fixed set of answers that you can give and solve. Like let's say if I give you a question and there are three approaches, you can talk about all the three approaches. Coming up with the fourth totally new approach is really highly unlikely. Unlike that, in system design, the system design is an open dimension. There is no right answer to any system design question. Let's say I give you a real world example. I, as an interview, ask you that you design Instagram's feature of uploading stories. You can do it in lot of ways. It might be inefficient or it might be efficient. It's all about the trade-offs. But you can answer in utter detail only if you go through all of these resources in detail, in at least some detail, effectively. So it depends on which context you are working on. System design, read as much as you can. Coding platform, stick to one, and inside that you can read as much as you can, but stick to one platform. I hope that's clear. Yeah, what about behavioral rounds? Okay, this is really important. I have seen a lot of candidates who come up like it's just another round, behavioral round. I will talk any rubbish. I will make up fake stories, and I will clear this round. This round is moral like the bonus round. No, that's not the right thing. I have been into interviews where a candidate has got strong hire, like not even hire, strong hire from all the interviewers, but the behavioral round had a lot of negative data points, and the final debrief that happens just got converted into a no hire decision. So that happens, and that's natural. And let's say if you are that candidate, you might ask your recruiter or bug your recruiter that why did you not select me? I nailed every interview. I'm the top coder. I'm the best coder alive. System design. I'm the pro. But the thing is, you are not culturally good, dude. So I don't want to work with you. For behavioral round, be honest. Like all these 5 points, they will give you no help if you're not honest. If you make up fake stories, if you take others credit, and if you portray that okay, the entire org was shitty, I was the sole superman who did all the jobs, and yes, I impressed the interviewer. No, that doesn't happen, because that is practically impossible. We as interviewer are also working with team in a collaborative environment, so we know how things work. I had written a post on LinkedIn, an article which covers STAR methodology, which is like given a situation, what is the task that you had, what were the actions that you took, and what was the outcome or the result. Use STAR for behavioral rounds. I would say use STAR for any given round, for system design or for coding round. It is always really helpful. But for behavioral specifically, use STAR methodology. It will help you really well. understand what is the situation given, understand what tasks you got on a high level, talk them out to your interviewer, what were the actions that you took or you had to took after discussion with your manager, and what was the result that you got. Prepare the stories beforehand, 2 to 3 stories for all the top questions. I have also listed down all the top questions in my article, and there are a lot of websites that talk about behavioral round. Do mock interviews if possible, because if you go straight forward into a behavioral round, you might be surprised with a question like, okay, Mr. John Doe, tell me about a time where you had a conflict with your team member. John Doe is absolutely blank. John Doe is like, okay, if I tell that I had a fight with one of my team member, how will this guy perceive me? Or will he treat me as someone who fights or not? You will be confused in those rounds, and you will come up with quick stories, and that will be pointed in a snap like Thanos. Okay, so don't at all do that. Prepare for behavioral round beforehand, because it adds a lot of weightage, and just nail it. So yeah, I have also promoted my LinkedIn article because I have put a lot of efforts in capturing a lot of the like top questions that we as interviewers ask and expect. So do mock interviews and prepare accordingly. Yeah, so these are the behavioral resources. This is the STAR technique, which is like the situation. How did you prepare for it? What was the task? What were the actions that you took, and what was the result? And this is the article, which is like becoming a star using the STAR technique, which you can always go through. And as always, utilize Google for anything, for like anything. Yes. Yeah. Yes, like this is the point that I was talking about. Look up the internet, read about more topics on multiple platforms, utilize internet to the fullest, because yeah, you are paying so less for internet these days, thanks to digital revolution. And use Google to the extreme. Read about topics, skill up and brush up. Final interview. Do's and don'ts of coding interview. I will walk through quickly. Do's: always ask clarifying questions. Always walk through your interviewer with the approach that you are thinking, so that he or she is always aligned with you. Mention complexities. Absolutely right. Time complexity, space complexity, always required. Code in a modular way. What do I mean? A modular is your code should not be a main method which is with like hundreds of lines, the entire logic dumped into that method. Don't do that. Because let's say we hire you for a company like Amazon, for a company like Facebook, we expect you to write code that is reusable, that is modular, that makes sense, that is well documented, well commented, so that when someone else in your team comes and read that code, he or she will smile seeing that, okay, this is a good job that has been done by someone, and hopefully they can give you accolade for the same. So code in a modular way. Have right naming conventions. Don't at all go with naming conventions like int a b c long x y z. Don't do that, because you will lose the interest of the interviewer of what you're doing with these variables. Make something relevant, and that also applies to the method names. Be receptible to hints. That is absolutely required, because you will be faced with almost every question that is new to you. You might have to, you might align your thinking in the right direction, but you might be underconfident. And trust me as an interviewer, 99% of the interviewer are there to make you succeed. We want you in our team, we want to work with you, and we will give you a lot of hints that do you think this code will work for some base cases? Let's say I told this statement to you, and you are like, no, it will always work. Why? Because yes, I am confident. I'm like 7-star on CodeChef. How do you think it won't work? But it will not work, because when I'm telling that statement, I'm pretty sure, like 100% of the times, that there is some case where your code is failing. So don't ignore the hint that is being given by an interviewer. Always be receptive to it, and it is always good to revisit the problem if a hint is given or your approach, because they want you to succeed. Now coming to the don'ts. Don't stay silent. Even if you're introverted, even if you want to live alone your entire life, even you don't want to have like anyone to talk to, but in interview, please speak up. Please speak up. Because if let's say I hire you in my team and you will be always silent, I won't get any inputs from you, and I will also like prevent myself to approach you to talk about anything, even if work on, even if on a personal level. Incorrect answer with confidence. Again, don't fake it. If like if you don't know something, be honest, tell I don't know, so that actually that adds a bonus point in Amazon interviews, specifically because we have a leadership principle called earn trust. You are earning the trust of your interviewer that okay, this guy or this girl is telling the right thing, that okay, she doesn't know the question, we can move on to the next question. You will never lose points on that. Again, under preparing, over preparing, I've already talked about it. Ignoring the hints, which is like opposite of receptible to hints. Faking a known question. Let's say I ask you a question which you have solved plethora of times, and you are faking it. That okay, uh, if I take this, if I use this time complexity, it will be this. You are kind of making that vibe that okay, this is the first time you're getting to this question. If you fake it, what might happen? You might lose that valuable time which the interviewer would have thought to ask some different questions. So don't at all fake it. See, faking is always bad. Beat anything. Don't fake it. Assuming interviewer is a devil, yeah, this lot of people think that okay, this interviewer did not want me to succeed. He was trying to show off his knowledge. He was trying to make me feel inferior. No, we don't want to do that. We are human beings. I have been on the other side of the table where I was a candidate, and people don't do that. People are not devil. They want you to succeed. If by any chances, in exceptional cases, their behavior is not according to what you feel is right, you can flag that out with the recruiter. But don't at all feel that your interview is a devil. No, that's not the case. Do's and don'ts of design interview: ask clarifying question. This I guess this is the big do's for almost any interview that you sit for, even for marketing, even for financial roles, program manager roles. Ask clarifying questions. Calculate the constraints. So there are a lot of constraints. How many daily active users am I supposed to expect? What is the peak traffic? Some questions like this. What is the memory storage I have to think of? For let's say 5 years, I have to persist all the data. It's like 20 terabyte or like 200 petabytes. Calculate constraints. Start with big boxes. Always start with big building blocks, and then see where your interviewer want you to dive deeper into, because that will kind of build the flow and also your confidence. Mention the principles. If you are talking about let's say okay, I will use event driven architecture because what I want to build is should be available to everyone. It might not be consistent. So talk about cap theorem, because you use cap theorem to make a decision, right? So always mention principles based on which you are making a decision. Call out the trade-offs. When I say call out trade-offs, like let's say you're going with NoSQL databases, call out the trade-off that why you went with NoSQL and not with the SQL database design. Why? Because design interviews, people expect you to lead because they want to see a leader. They want to see a senior developer in you. Even if you're joining as a SD1, although for SD1 design interviews don't happen, but even if they happen, they want you to see that growth potential, that this guy or girl can increase his dimension with proper mentorship, because he or she is calling the right trade-offs. So always call out trade-offs and compare your choices, which is like again the trade-offs kind of thing. The don'ts: don't stay silent. Again, incorrect answer with confidence. Once again, under preparing, yeah, this is absolutely required for design interviews. Don't go under prepared because you will be nailed down like anything, and you will be seriously disappointed the way the design interview will flow into. Spending more time on drawings. Yes, I have seen a lot of candidates who spend the entire time building boxes. Don't do that. Make big boxes and quickly walk through the interview, because it's just a 45 minutes or 1 hour design, and you won't realize it will pass in a snap. Again, hand-on strategy. So don't spend more time on drawings. Assuming interviewer is devil, again, don't do that mistake. Chanting red answers. Okay, I read about the differences between TCP and UDP. I will call out all of that, and hopefully the interviewer will be impressed. But just think, is that even relevant in that design context? If it's not, don't do that. Giving up. Lot of candidates, like really lot of candidates that I have seen in design interview just give up. They are like, I cannot design or cannot improve or optimize. So the thing is, design questions will not have a right answer. Okay, there is no one right answer. The way Facebook has been designed today, it can be again designed with the exact same latency, even improved performance. So don't give up. Always think in direction. Okay, I can use this. Call out your trade-offs. I can use that. If I do that, these all things will get affected. So don't give up, please, and don't give up on anything. Don't give up even if you're rejected. I will talk about that point as well. Yeah, use diagram to explain your thoughts. The always start with a naive or brute force component, which is like the which is I have represented this in a very big pyramid part, which is like the foundation. Why? Because this is the thing which is building your fundamental. And if you're starting with brute force, that's absolutely okay. 90% of the people start with brute force. That's absolutely right. But you have to build on top of it. You have to reach the pinnacle of the pyramid. So just improvise it and think of intermediate suboptimal components or approaches, which is like the middle layer. And let's say you get that most optimized or deepest component, which is like you think the final approach. Quickly jump onto this pinnacle part. Try to spend least time on the brute force, intermediate or mediocre time on the suboptimal approaches. Try to spend most time on the optimized approaches, because that will give you a lot of plus points. Hence, use diagrams to explain your thoughts as well, like how you're like whiteboarding. Companies give you whiteboarding tools as well, so you can utilize that. Do's and don'ts for behavioral interviews. Do's: be honest for every interview. Tell your role in success. If you were a part of any success story of any product, tell your role, what were your contributions. At the same time, don't hesitate to share failures, which is like don'ts. I quickly jumped on the don'ts, because a lot of people, when asked, tell me about a time where you failed, where you did not accomplish the timeline that was given to you for a feature. In that case, a lot of people answer, no, I have always submitted the feature within time. I'm a good SD, I have got a lot of promotions as well. But to be honest, there are really less scenarios. You always have failed. You always have faced failure. So don't try to jump or go away from failures. Okay, always be honest and tell. Okay, these were the failures, and from these failures, these were my learnings, so that I won't repeat them. And if I repeat them, or if I see someone repeating them, I will guide them and mentor them, and that will add a lot of plus points to your interview round. Understand what's asked, use star method, be concise and targeted. Don't be the Superman, no one is. Telling long stories, don't do that. Yeah, I will apply this on myself also. I am also telling a long story for a long time. And chantive adjectives about yourself. A lot of people I have seen, they tell their qualities themselves only. Let's say I have asked a question, what do you think are your strengths and weaknesses? They'll tell, I'm really collaborative, I'm really honest, I'm like a star player, I'm really hardworking. What are my weaknesses? I'm really hardworking, so what happens is I spend a lot of time. Don't bullshit, okay? Like really, don't bullshit there. If I will ask a counter question, and I will just dig deep or probe you into one or two questions, and I will get all the red flags and all the negative data points. Don't chant adjectives about yourself. Your personality, your answers, your hard work will speak for yourself always. You don't have to tell that, okay, I don't have to tell that I have cracked these interviews. HackerEarth collaborated with me, right? So you will get those opportunities where you will have to showcase what you have achieved. Don't go into the market telling that, okay, I've done this, done this. Don't do that. Don't do that. Some bonus tips to stand out. We are approaching towards the end of this webinar, so I want to give you some bonus points that applied to me. Research. Always do research when you are approaching for any interview for any company. If you are already aware who your interviewer is, research about them, so that you can ask meaningful questions. At end of every interview, interviewer will give you 5 minutes or 10 minutes slot where you can ask them questions back. Prepare. If you know who your interviewer is, you can ask them questions which are meaningful to their profession. Like, let's say if you are being interviewed for a data engineering role, and a senior data engineer is interviewing you, you can ask them questions like, I'm genuinely interested. Don't fake it. Again, don't fake it. You can ask them honestly. If you're which is like the second point, I will come on to that. That how do you handle so much amount of data? What are the big data techniques that you use? Do you use Spark? Do you use Hadoop? So if that shows that you have done your due diligence, that shows you are interested in this company, you are interested in the people, and that shows that you are curious, and you are a learning spirit. You always want to learn. Also, let's say you are not aware about the interviewer, research about those companies. So when I have interviewed with Amazon twice. Unfortunately, I have got offers twice. One was from Prime Video London, and another is Alexa. So I had researched about the company, and I read about all the leadership principles that they have. What is learn and be curious? What is the ownership model? They Amazonians always talk about customer obsession. What that really is? Can I get those insights from a actual Amazonian in my interview? And actually, I did that. Why? Because I did not want to stand out. That was not my intention. I was genuinely curious. So this is the second point that I've highlighted here, which is like being curious. If you're really curious, I'm pretty sure you can nail most of the interviews, because curiosity will always motivate you to learn more. And if you're learning more, you will perform more. And if you will perform more, you will always stand out. And be a team player. Don't be that one man army. There are a lot of movies which portray that there is a protagonist who is solving all the problems. Don't be that. That's not possible in the real world. That might be possible in the real world, but not in the real world. Be a team player, be down to earth, be collaborative, be approachable, be helpful, have the right attitude, don't disrespect anyone. And yeah, if you do all of this, I'm pretty sure you will stand out in your interview. You will get really good feedback, strong hire decisions, and all green signals from like all the interviewers. Now I come to the section where you can ask me questions, and Anirudh, you can also help me with questions.
Hello, Abhishek. That was the
Yeah.
super insightful. That was a super insightful session. And I think when you started talking about LinkedIn and your entire journey, I kind of had goosebumps in my hand. But yes, that was really interesting. And we do have a lot of questions. Some of them we'll take up like later on in maybe. We can send out probably like emails to you guys and help out with a couple of questions. But there are certain questions, Abhishek, which I think only you can give good insight to. So one thing that a lot of people have asked is what kind of projects can we build to make our portfolio stand out? Be it in college or even post college, what is it that what kind of projects can we pick up, or what kind of internships can we pick up to kind of make our portfolio stronger while appearing for such interviews,
Right. From whoever that question has come into, that's really nice, because I kind of did not throw some light on that. Projects, a lot of people have asked this question to me as well. How important it is to write projects in your resume? If you write projects in your interview, in your resume, and if you're damn sure about it of what you have implemented, if you have implemented on your own, again, if you're honest, then it will add a lot of credibility and weightage to your resume. And I will also throw light on what type of projects you can do. But let's say if your resume is missing projects, people kind of become disheartened or disappointed that my resume won't get selected. That's absolutely not the case. Some people might not have built project, but the thing is that person might be exceptionally good in coding, and that's okay, right? Because he or she is not interested in making a full stack or making web development. I'm interested in coding, I will do coding, that's it. But for all the people who are interested in projects, you can let's say from software engineering perspective, pick up projects that are kind of algorithmic heavy. Why? Because that will help you in two ways. One, you will anyways learn the full stack, like the front end, how you can configure a database, like the backend part, which is like making the full stack. But if it is algorithmic heavy, like there are a lot of famous projects like sorting visualizer, like shortest path visualizer, generating Fibonacci number, Enquine's problem. If you build a UI, you will learn front end. If you make the backend for it, you will learn backend. But to solve that exact problem, you will also think in terms of coding and problem solving. So what you actually did in that short amount of time with that nice, simple, crispy project, you touched upon everything, and now you're more confident. So pick up those projects. But if you're, let's say, machine learning enthusiast, you can also build movies recommendations like Netflix. And also when you're going for that Netflix recommendation, don't just build a machine learning model that is doing the whole job, because you just reduced your like area of growth in one dimension. You also try to build a front end. HTML, CSS seems really shitty to a lot of people, to me as well. But trust me, when you start using it to the fullest, it will become fun. Front end is really fun. There are a lot of moving pieces, but it's like a puzzle. You'll really love it. And also the backend. Backend is straightforward, but you'll learn. The second part of the question that Anirudh you asked is the internships. Internships at the earlier stage is really important because you will get that feel and vibe of what is it like to go to industry, how team works, how a product works, what are the kind of problems that are being solved. So internships always give you right exposure, always good. If you don't have, I will again tell, don't be underconfident because you will always settle at the right place at the right time. So don't be sad if you don't have internships. Yeah.
Completely agree with you, Abhishek, because we have seen a lot of students kind of reach out to us asking, what kind of project should we pick up to get placed into different companies. I'm going to delve a little bit deeper into this. Abhishek, what was your first project? If
Yeah.
if I
Okay.
can ask you that, if that's
Yeah.
okay
So
with
my
you, can you share a little bit
yeah,
into that?
that's absolutely okay. Because I'm a transparent person. So my first project was building tic-tac-toe in Java, and that was so horribly wrong. That was so horribly wrong. And it
I
took me it took me around 2 weeks. So that was during my college when I started learning Java and Swing and Applet. So I built a tic-tac-toe game. That was my first project. The second project was in collaboration with one of my friend, which I built was Flappy Bird. Then kind of I started learning things. So I built a project which is advanced language translator that can translate any speech to text and any text to speech back, which was using Bing APIs and Google Open APIs. So these were some of the projects that I built, and then there were a lot of miniature projects that I built, which will be there in my resume that I will upload on LinkedIn if it is not public yet, like 2048, because I love that game. So so I'm a gaming enthusiast. Whenever I see a game and I feel okay, there is a lot of coding involved, and I can pick up that to implement it for my own interest. However scrappy and dirty that UI might be, but I want to implement it. Once again, be curious.
Totally, I completely agree with you because picking up like little, like picking up small points from different things that you kind of be passionate about it, and picking up small points
Yes.
from different things that you really like is something that you should do to kind of see like exponential growth. So
Right.
there's another question that Harsh G has asked. He's
Mhm.
asked, system programming, is it something that a lot of people ask in campus placements?
Thanks Harsh G for asking the question, but I'm not pretty sure what Harsh meant out of system programming. System programming is in total another field of area, which is like low level programming. I assume that his question was around if system design is asked for new grads. Is that the right
That
interpretation?
is that is probably what he wanted to kind of convey. Can you throw
Okay.
some light onto that?
For new grads, especially system design is not asked. Why? Because they might not have dealt with the ambiguities and the large scale at which enterprises operate. So, as I mentioned in my slide as well, the system design round usually happen when you are in the industry for like 2 years or 3 years at least. Else, you don't expect any system design questions. You can be pretty confident about the coding skills.
Got it. I think that probably answers Harsh's question. There is another question which is very
Mhm.
popular that students have been asking, and I guess there are a couple of recruiters as well who are asking, which is it necessary to have a computer science or come from that background, come from the computer science background to crack an interview
Absolutely not.
into any of these companies that you mentioned?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is like a big no-no. Why? I can give you a real life example. If I am allowed to take names. So a lot of people know Rachit Jain, right? He's a very famous YouTuber as well. He's my friend. He's my close friend. We have worked in Microsoft together. We went to Microsoft Ready together and had a lot of fun. He is not from computer science background, and he is really talented, and you can take his example. I'm just quoting Rachit as one of the person. I can take a lot of names. So there are a lot of people who don't have a computer science degree, and that's absolutely not necessary until and unless you are masters of your field. If you know coding, if you know data structures, algorithms, no company gives a shit of what degree you have. If you're worth enough, you can crack any interviews. I can also give an example. I don't recall the name. There is a chartered accountant undergraduate who is 7 star on code chef, like, which is a very big thing because that is entirely new domain. People are asking, if I am an electrical engineer, can I apply for like computer science rules or not. Imagine that chartered accountant who's like in commerce, like not even science. He's 7 star on CodeChef. So don't get demotivated. It's all about how good you are in fundamentals. So again, Anirudh, I will extend this question because from this question, people also have this question that does it matter if they are coming from a tier 3 college background or not even tier
That was
3?
my next question. That was exactly my
Right.
next question.
So to answer that question, colleges like there are few companies, there are few controversies also you might see on LinkedIn where they specifically tell we need people from IITs or NITs, or let's say from Berkeley or like Stanford. Leave those companies aside. I can be very open. Facebook, Uber, Microsoft, and Amazon, from these companies from where I have got offer, they don't give a damn about what college you're coming from if you are a champ at what you do. There are competitions like Facebook Hacker Cup. There are programs like Microsoft Student Partner, Microsoft Codes, Amazon Wow, Google Code Jam, Google Kickstart, Google. Lot of competitions that happen where you can showcase your talent by being the best coder, by being the best hackathon person, by being a machine learning enthusiast. And I am telling you, the recruiter will reach out to you immediately as soon as the results are announced. They won't give a damn of from which college you're coming from, because every big company believes in equal rights. Okay, it might happen that for some reason you miss some tier 1 or tier 2 colleges, but that doesn't mean your potential is lost. You have a growth potential, you can showcase it. So once again, never get demotivated.
True. I completely agree with this because this is something that we at HackerEarth also believe. Um, Having tier-wise bias is something that we try to eliminate as much as possible, and at least with
Right.
clients like Amazon and Google, and we do conduct a lot of events for these guys, and for with organizations like these, and we can I as a matter of fact can assure you that in almost all cases, companies do not look at which tier or you're from. All that they care
Absolutely.
about is what you bring to the table, what kind of skills you
Mhm.
hone, and what kind of growth you can expect and how much you can contribute to the organization. So it honestly does not matter, guys. If that is a question that keeps coming to your head, I can assure you, a lot of top organizations really do not care about which tier or what the name of your
Absolutely.
college is. They only care about the experiences you've had and
Absolutely.
what kind of skills you bring onto the table. So
Correct.
another question, Abhishek, is that Ankana Sonowal has. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Has
Mhm.
asked is how did you maintain your preparation for Amazon while working in Microsoft?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because along with work deliverables, trust me, it's really difficult to manage that time. But again, uh, I talked about a point that is curious soul, right? I am a curious soul. I always want to learn more. So what happens is, let me just throw some light that you don't work 24 hours. Okay, there are 24 hours in a day. Everybody knows that as a fact.
100%.
You will work hardly, if you're workaholic, you might work for 10-12 hours, but you will work around 6 to 7 hours max. You will sleep for 7 to 8 hours. You'll have food and other thing, your other entertainment. You will have lot of time. Trust me, if you give 30 minutes every day. And I want to quote my mom here, because my mom tells me, if you give one shot at anything, like you got one day and you solve 200 questions, that will not give you fruitful results. Rather, do one question every day for 200 days. That will give you more fruitful results, because that will keep your mind more active, more fresh, and it will not make you stressed out. So the strategy that I adopted while at Microsoft for Amazon is, I used to solve one or two questions daily, either on Codeforce's virtual contest, either on Lead Code, either on HackerRank. So because of that, I did not lose the entire test to competitive coding or like in general programming. Hence, that helped me a lot to always stay in touch.
Right. That I think is very insightful for a lot of people who are working and are looking to shift or switch jobs or organizations, because
Right.
that is necessary. How to kind of balance both of them and prepare, because you do not want to have a break of a couple of months that does not reflect very well on your entire profile. So I completely agree
Right.
with you, and that is something that has to go hand in hand, and you cannot be taking a break, or you cannot actually face any kind of issues while trying to switch. So
Right.
100%, I completely agree with you. Another question that a lot of people have asked or have come up with, Karthikeyan Rajendran is someone who kind of brought this up. So what he's saying is he is into competitive programming, and he's just curious about in general, how many questions does a candidate kind of have to go through before they feel like they're ready, or how to kind of build confidence post one PowerPoint? So you go through 200 odd questions, you solve all of these on different platforms. Am I finally ready for an interview, or do I have to keep going? Is there a threshold? How do I feel confident, or how do I kind of reach that threshold?
Okay, to answer that question really shortly and really in a very concise way, focus on solving qualitative problems rather than quantitative. Like, don't run up after numbers, because I have seen a lot of people who have solved around 1000 problems in total over CodeShip or LeetCode, and they are unable to answer even the simple questions. And I have also seen people who have not even solved like 15 to 20 questions on any platform, and you ask any question, they can come up with the algorithm then and there. So it's all about the confidence. There is no number limit. There is no threshold that I want to tell. Personally, for me, I am a person who likes to solve questions daily. So even my stats will have a lot big numbers. Like on LeetCode, I have solved around 600 problems. On Codeforces, I have solved around 400 problems. Spoj 200. So don't go behind how many problems someone has solved. Everyone has their own pace. Everyone has their own strategy. You solve problems until you are confident. If you are confident, just give it a shot.
Ultimately, I guess that is what matters the most,
Right.
because even if you do fail, you kind of come back to your drawing board and you set the
Right.
entire thing up. You see what's not right, and you just go through the entire process. So I completely agree with Abhishek here, because I think that is the best approach, irrespective of if it is coding or if it is any other field that you're picking up. Just come back to the drawing board, try, grind again, and success is going to get you, or you're going to crack the interview, I guess. Another
Exactly.
question, a very interesting one that Anujit Nene has kind of mentioned is so there are a lot of people. Is there any specific advice for senior developers with 8+ years of experience? Also, does FUMA prefer devs to be a specialist in one technology or a generalist?
So it depends on the profile that you are interviewing for. Let's say you are applying for a Java developer at FUMA, to be specific. Then they will obviously expect you to be very well versed in Java framework, like Spring Boot or whatever you are implementing, yeah, using Lombok annotations or anything. But in general, if you're going for software rules, they won't ask you technology specific questions. To be very honest, big companies are always framework and language agnostic. They will give you total freedom to choose whatever language you are comfortable in and solve the problem. The aim of that interview is how you think, how you solve the problem. Now, again, advice for senior devs. I might be a very young person because I am 3 years into the industry, but I can tell from my experience that as a senior developer, you are always expected to have those mentoring capabilities. You should not just solve problems, but you should also influence the org in total, where you are influencing multiple teams. You're not solving problems just for a feature, you are solving problems for enterprise product. So from a senior level point of view, do focus more on system design, because if you're trying for FUMA, to be very specific, they will want senior developers who has great command in system design, who can mentor a lot of people, who can get problems solved and at the same time solve problems.
So leadership is the key takeaway that kind of comes in,
Yeah,
because they
yeah, you
want
you
people
summarize
who
it
can kind
really
of
well.
lead an entire team
You
completely.
summarize it really well.
So
Leadership.
100%. And I think you did mention like a part of this even before, but it is more important for people who have been in the industry for say 4+ years, or for someone like for Anujit, who's been there for like 8+ years. I think that does make a lot of sense, because that is a key a component when you have to lead multiple teams, when you have to kind of collaborate. It is necessary, and a lot of organizations do look at that. And I think even at HackerEarth, we kind of have the same thing, where we want you to become leaders, and not just someone who can contribute individually. So that
Exactly.
is definitely something that that I can vouch for, and is something that I
Right.
have seen. A couple of last questions that we would like to cover, Abhishek, is one is, do you take down notes after every competitive programming contest that you go through?
Yeah,
Do you take notes? How do you what is your takeaway from every contest? How do you kind of build on it? How do you learn what your faults were? And how do you kind of get better over time?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this question has come from someone who is really active in competitive programming, or who is trying to become very good at competitive programming. So in competitive, again, don't go after my stats at competitive programming websites. They might be very delusional. I am a good programmer and coder, but I need time to solve. I'm so like courtship long challenges kind of person. I am not the cook off at lunchtime. But a strategy that helped me is upsolving. You can Google this term, which is called upsolving programming competitions. That means whenever you are done with a contest, even if it is live or virtual, try to just solve the next two problems that were after that, after the last problem that you solve. Let's say there are five problems, A, B, C, D, E. You solve till the problem C in during the designated time. After the contest, spend some time to think about how you could have solved problem D and E, like just more two problems which are like with just higher rated difficulty. And also go through the editorials that are given for all the questions, because you and also submissions of some of your favorite coders. Like I personally follow a code of Umnik, Michael Danilak, Eric To, and Derek Kisman, but he's no longer active on coding these days. But they write such good code. Like Peter, a lot of people would have heard about Peter Michiev. I follow these coders. I want to see how they have solved the same problem, and I'm amazed that they have solved this problem in like 1-2 lines. And it takes me like a couple of hours to understand what they did exactly. And in that process, you will learn a lot of new techniques. I learned bit masking using that only. So when I used to code about Fenwick trees, uh, the very critical step I and minus I learned from seeing their codes only. So try to upsolve and try to refer other people's code and read editorials. So these are my three top tips.
100%. Editorials is something that is very useful for anybody who's kind of trying to learn how to kind of how to code better, or trying to get a little better with the entire thing. So
Right.
editorials work really well, and kind of going through. I think almost every platform, including HackerEarth, has the option where you can
Yes.
the submissions by top coders, whichever contest it is, you usually can, unless it is an assessment based contest,
Correct.
because this is only for competitive programming again, guys. So I completely agree with you, Abhishek, where editorials and going through code of top submissions definitely works.
Correct.
So just to like sum it up, Abhishek, there's one last question that I want to ask you. So there's this student, I'm guessing, who's come up with this question where they feel really lost. They're in the second year of college and they feel really lost
Yeah.
as to
Yes.
how to approach interviews and what kind of how do you prepare for such interviews. So do you have any specific advice? I know the entire thing was based off of that, but there's a lot of uncertainty, obviously, with the current situation as well. So is
Right.
there a way in which probably second or third year students can have a foolproof method to kind of try and get interview ready? If not crack all of them, at least get interview ready until they're in their fourth year.
So one big tip I want to tell to every as aspiring engineer or upcoming engineer or engineer in process, like the students, that find your passion. That passion might be web development, that passion might be front end development, that passion might be something else, that passion might be altogether like modeling or singing or dancing. Okay. Because it happens that you feel lost. Why? Because you see a lot of people around you doing a lot of things. When I was in college, a lot of people were doing absolutely nothing. Okay, so I also wanted to enjoy time like them. A lot of people were indulged heavily into competitive programming. I was like, okay, I will also have to do this because mainstream work. Okay. And at the same time, a lot of people were clicking pictures. Okay, they were pursuing photography. They have become like top-notch photographers of our nation right now. And talking about the competitive programmers, they have become the best of the best. Talking about the people who are not doing anything, they have also become masters in some field or the other, only because they spend time on finding the right passion on that specific field where they click. If you get that click of any field, pursue that field. Then don't worry about, okay, other people are doing competitive programming, but I am doing machine learning. Will I be left behind? No, you won't be. You will be getting the same package, even better, like what they get. So just find your interest first and then pursue it like aimlessly as a passion.
This is also like, just to finish it off, it's a quote that I kind of believe in, and I've been kind of, it's something that
Mhm.
inspires me and motivates me every day. It goes by it goes on the lines of, um, create what you love till you love creating. So
Yeah.
if you really like doing something, follow it. So once you start liking the process of creating something new, there is nothing that can stop you. So at that
Got it.
point, you do know that you're never going to be uncertain about anything, because you just want to create new things, or you want to try new stuff out. So follow a passion, stick to it, is something that that is an advice I can give to everybody. And if you guys are if you HackerEarth has also launched mock interviews, which is something that we put in a lot of effort into, which has different tracks
Mhm.
into it. If there are students or if there are professionals who are interested in Google, Amazon. So right now we have about 2 tracks on our platform, because we have worked with Google and Amazon before this, and we know what kind of questions or what kind of assessments usually come up. So we have framed 2 tracks of it. Plus, we also do have language-based tracks. So if say for example C is something that you really like, we do have language-based tracks also, which people can follow. And there are multiple platforms out there which you guys can try out and get more interview ready. So work hard towards maybe getting to the right point where you have the confidence to pull off any interview, or at least give your best in them. So that
Yeah.
is
I
probably an
also
advice
have
that I would like to give.
I also have some closing remarks, Anirudh. Like I had prepared this slide specifically for this. That if you want to create a big impact, prepare hard. That is absolutely necessary. But at the same time, be confident. Okay, there can be rejections. You might not get into FUMA or any company in the first go. It might happen. There is always a probability of that. Don't lose confidence. Okay, rejections are always part and parcel of your life. Embrace them, because that will actually make you stronger when you appear for the second time or for the third time or for the except time. So prepare hard, be confident, never lose hope. Everyone will get to the right place at the right time, and that's called destiny. I believe in that, you believe in that. So prepare hard and be confident. So
Completely
thanks
agree
from
with
my
you.
side, and I hope
100%.
that everyone would have got a lot of insights from this. And yeah, and I also want to call this out. If you want to reach out to me, I don't have any website or YouTube channel or something. I'm a simple guy. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Although there are like tons and plethora of messages, but I will take out time. Mostly over the weekends, I go through a lot of messages. I reply to each one of them, and let's say there is something which is like as a pattern, common questions, then I'm like pretty sure HackerEarth will collaborate with me again for addressing that.
For sure, Abhishek. A big thanks to you, because I know you have a lot of deliverables even at work, and you're a super busy person because you keep upskilling every day. And big thanks to kind of remove this time. And it's great that you've come here and kind of interacted, given more insights to all of to a majority of our community. Honestly, a lot of people did sign up, and I can see a lot of people mentioning that yes, it was great and it was really insightful. So a big thanks to you, Abhishek, for doing this.
Yeah, yeah,
In future, if there are a lot of questions, or if there are common topics in which students or professionals would like more insight on, we would love to have you over, depending on obviously how you kind of want to approach the entire thing. So thank you so much, Abhishek. And that is about it, guys, from our end for today. Anything else, Abhishek? Any closing statements that you would like to give to
prepare
all
hard,
of?
be confident. Prepare hard, be confident, never lose hope. You will get there. That's the only thing I want to
Perfect,
talk about.
perfect. I don't think I could have summed it up any better. So that is literally the motto from someone who's been coaching a lot of students and a lot of people in general for interviews. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day and keep coding.